Right now, imagine that we have a peace with them, and then next day Putin breaks the peace. What then happens, and who is responsible for that? That is correct. Every single city that is under the heavy bombarding of Russian forces, every single city that is having active fighting in it, usually faces the humanitarian crisis. When people, the civilians, cannot get out of it, when the water supplies, food supplies, and all the other sources are cut, and people who are not participating in fighting, they face all those harsh conditions and all those atrocities. Also, Russians deliberately making sure that people are not able to leave their cities that they are attacking. They have done it in Mariupol, they have done it in Severodonetsk, they are doing it in other active war zones. And in this matter, they are evacuating children to Russian territory. They are trying to evacuate people to Russian territory just to politically prove the point that Russia is better.
Let's talk, if we can, about the Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visit yesterday to Kyiv and the significance of that, because clearly there is symbolism, but also in the package of support that he outlined. How important is that?
So the United Kingdom has been one of our strongest allies in this war, along with the United States. And it happened because, first, you guys have been the first ones to offer us weapons, the first ones to offer us aid, the first ones to support us with different new initiatives. And second, because you keep the promises and the help arrives pretty quickly. So what we have seen yesterday is that Britain is taking another step in supporting Ukraine, which is incredibly important because this is exactly what we need right now. We need heavy weapons, but we also need to train our soldiers to be able to use them, and also to train more and more new soldiers that are coming to the front. So this is important. This is done in the timely manner. And of course, this is one of the ways of Britain still putting a pinch on that you are our main allies, because 2 days ago we had Emmanuel Macron, Mr. Draghi, and Olaf Scholz in Kiev, who supported our candidacy status into European Union. United Kingdom is not as a member of European Union, was not able to show us this political support as well, but there are many great news that are coming from the United Kingdom every single time, and this is one of them.
You talk about that backing of the EU and the European Commission saying that Ukraine should be given candidate status to join the EU. How significant is that for Ukraine? And do you worry that that could further antagonise Russia, or is that irrelevant at this stage?
Well, first of all, it is irrelevant to the stage because Putin even commented saying that he doesn't care if we become member of EU, which translating from Putin's words means I cannot do anything about that. That's why I will say that it is irrelevant. If you see my picture right now, I have 4 flags behind me. It's European Union flag, Ukrainian flag, flag of my party, and flag of NATO. They basically represent the aims of Ukrainian people, and 2 of those aims are in Ukrainian constitution, to join NATO and to join European Union. So you can imagine that on 4th months of war, when people get exhausted, when we need good news badly, we need them as much as we need weapons, because we need something uplifting. So to learn that we are getting candidacy and we are one step closer to executing on Ukrainian people's aim that is written in our constitution of joining EU, it's critical. You cannot even imagine how people react. They are motivated, they are happy, they are saying, okay, so we are waving the right flag. And it is, of course, opening up lots of opportunities and possibilities for us. And it is showing that the support is not only vocal, it's also practical, it's also in actual actions.
You talk about the exhaustion that people are feeling about this war in Ukraine 4 months into this conflict. How much do you worry that European countries and countries in the West are going to lose interest? It's not going to be as much of a priority as the months go on.
Of course, I do have this concern, and that's why I do all possible and impossible things and knock all the doors to make sure that for the world, war in my country would not become new normal. But we also should understand that there are different stages of the war and different stages of the support. And if the war in Ukraine will continue, will be an ongoing process, we need to make sure that it does not rely on people's emotions or on people's interest, but it's rather a part like a long-term strategies for the countries. Like we all know that this autumn will be very hard. It will be hard for Ukrainians because of the fighting and because of the destruction of the infrastructure. But it will be also hard for Europeans. It will be also hard for citizens of the United Kingdom. And I visited you guys recently, and I know that the energy bills are going up, the food prices are going up, and the economical situation is not as good as it could be. And it will only get worse because Putin will not become a better person closer to autumn. He will start acting more aggressively in terms of economic and energy resources steps, and it will be only worse. So we need to work as partners. We need to plan ahead accordingly. So no matter how much Ukraine is in the media, the strategy will be there. Right now, I don't think that anybody in the world still has the comprehensive strategy on how to act. But we still have like 2 months, and we need to have the strategy badly.
You talk about the economic situation here in the UK, but it's also struggling across much of the world because of rising petrol prices, gas prices because of the war in Ukraine, food prices because of the grain that can't come out of the country because it's such a huge provider. There is only going to be more and more pressure applied to Ukraine to end this war, to find a way out of this war, which clearly you're going to want the war to end. But on what terms? What do you see the future? Is there any point having peace negotiations now? Do you feel that President Putin needs to be given a way to save face to end the war? Or is this a case of Russia just has to be beaten?
Russia has to be beaten. This is the first point. But the second point is who is the guarantor of that Putin will keep his word? You know, for us, the war started 8 years ago. And we know that if there is anything I can tell you about Vladimir Putin is that he cannot keep his word. And no matter what he says, he will be doing what he thinks is appropriate. So right now, imagine that we have a peace with them. And then next day, Putin breaks the peace. What then happens? And who is responsible for that? And before we don't have a good security alliance that is able to stop Putin and is able to make him keep his word, all the peace negotiations, they are just useless. So the petrol prices, they are rising not because of the war in Ukraine. They are rising because Putin is raising them. So remember how they were raising last year when there was no active military actions in Ukraine. And it did not change the Putin strategies to strain the world and to put pressure on Western countries and show and demonstrate this power that he has over the rest of the world. So same with the grains and wheat and sunflower oil situation. Even if the war ends today and Ukraine will be able to continue exporting the produce that we are doing as we have been doing before, the situation of all in all with Russia wouldn't change. He started the war because he's saying, I am rebuilding Soviet Union, I am rebuilding Russian Empire. What can you tell this man? That he needs to stop right now? I don't think that would ever work.
Kira Rudik, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you and
That is Kira Rudik, who is a Ukrainian MP and leader of the Voice party.